What's going on, friends? Today I want to talk about what is hopefully going to be some very helpful information for playing Where Winds Meet. I feel like when the developers made this game and they had like a whiteboard of what do we want to put in this game, they just decided to write everything. They just put everything in the game. And as a result, when you're trying to pass through the systems and learn what do I need to upgrade, where do I go get that stuff from, how the heck do I access that menu, it is pretty overwhelming. But having spent many hours playing this game and watching other people's videos and trying to take it all in and store it in my brain, I'm going to attempt to nice and neatly explain the many different systems, or the most important systems in this game, and how they all work. The chances are that you guys know some of this stuff, but whether you know all of it, well, that remains to be seen. In order to help you look through the information and see if there's anything that's particularly interesting to you, you'll be able to check out the timestamps, scribble along in the video. But first, a quick word from this video's sponsor. Old School RuneScape just had one of its biggest updates to date. On November 19th, they added sailing into the game. Now, this wasn't just another update. This is the first time they've added a new skill to the game since it launched in 2013. Last month, I was at a friend's wedding, and his brother, who's a very avid Old School RuneScape player, was telling me how excited he is for this update. The community works very closely with the developers to give feedback and perfect the update to make it exactly what they want, and it seems like they've really gone all out with this one. The ocean itself is segmented into shallow seas, open seas, and deep seas, and each one has different ship size requirements, and ships of course can be built, upgraded, and customized with facilities for combat, transport, or gathering. You'll face new monsters on both land and water, such as krakens, sharks, orcas, frost dragons, and griffins. You can plunder shipwrecks, crack open crates, and solve riddles to earn huge XP drops and rare loot. So what are you guys waiting for? Whether you're a new player wanting to join Old School RuneScape for the first time, a returning player in it for the grind, or looking to level up to 99 in a brand new skill, there's no better time to jump into sailing. Check out the link in the description down below or pinned in the top comment, and get ready to set sail now in Old School RuneScape. One of the first systems I want to talk about is your medicine. These are your healing potions, your flask, you know, the button that you press when you take a ton of damage from the boss. It's X on the keyboard or up on the D-pad. If you want to make these, you can make them from your bag. You can go to craft, brew medicine, but you do get them every time you visit a hero tomb or a boundary stone. That's the fast travel shrines, and the hero tomb is those swords with the hats on top of them that you see outside of boss arenas. That's a hero tomb there. Now, if you want to increase the amount of potions you can hold, which is very handy because it means you can, you know, miss that parry or that dodge multiple times and you've still got a lot of heals, all you need to do is fast travel to the Evercare Clinic. This is on the left side of Qinghe, the first area that you'll travel to. You can go talk to Yao. Don't know if I'm pronouncing that right. And if you submit Medicinal Tail, you can actually increase the amount of potion slots that you have. So you'll start off at medicine level 1, but you submit these tails, and I think it's like every other level, maybe every third level, you'll be able to carry more potions, and they'll also heal you for more as well. The next question obviously is, where do we get those medicinal tails? You can get them from a bunch of different quests, but one of the most straightforward ways to get some is just to go to forts and then clear them out. The first time you clear a fort, you'll often get some medicinal tails. It's worth just checking various quests around the map. You will find that sometimes you kill a boss, for example. If we go find a world boss that I haven't killed yet. I couldn't find a boss, but we do have this quest here. You can see medicinal tails. So yeah, clearing forts, clearing what the world bosses, and doing some quests will give you these. And then you trade them into Yao here, and you can increase the maximum amount of potions you can hold. One of my favorite things to do in Where Winds Meet is this lightness skill. It's basically like flying, and it's a super cool way to move across the map. It's actually relatively straightforward to unlock as well. The first thing you'll need to do is grind out a little bit of exploration rating within the area that you want to fly. So right now at time of recording, we have two different areas on the map. We have Qinghe and we have Kaifeng, and each one has an exploration rating. So if we hover over this area, we can see down in the bottom left, I have level 5, the Renowned. You need to get to at least level 4 and then claim the Afterglow Pendant if you want to fly in Qinghe, and if you want to fly in Kaifeng, again, you need to get to at least level 4 and claim the Flight Medallion. In order to get these levels, you just need to do exploration. So do quests, kill enemies, visit fast travel shrines. It's actually one of the best ways. You get a lot of territory standing or the exploration rating just by visiting all of the fast travel shrines. Then do a few side quests around, loot some chests, get some of those bugs, just basically do anything on the map. You get the exploration rating, unlock level 4, claim your medallion, and then when you hold down jump, you'll be able to fly up into the air. Now, it is worth mentioning there are different movement styles for this lightness skill. You can get the 1,000-mile flight just as a daily login bonus. The meteor flight, which is what I'm using right now, is a spear ability. This one's really cool. And then the other two are actually just related to your exploration rating as well. If you want to get meteor flight, the spear ability that I'm using, all you need to do is go to this lake over here on the Qinghe area, just to the left of Porcelain Kiln. Talk to the fisherman, do his blue book quest. He'll teleport you over, do his jumping puzzle quest, and then he'll give you this ability here to be able to use the spear flight. Lastly, one other thing you can change is in your settings. If you go to settings and then you go to camera, you can change your grand lightness skill to free camera instead of custom, and then you got this sort of wider field of view when you're flying through the air. Just makes it look a little bit cooler in my opinion. Along with the lightness skill, another movement benefit you'll gain for going around the map faster is the wall stride ability, or just the dash really fast ability. It allows you to glide over water, sprint as fast as a horse, and it also unlocks this cool parkour ability where if you run at a wall or an object, you can kind of hop over it, Prince of Persia style. If you want to unlock this, it is tied to that territory standing, so you need to get to level 4 again. The same way you'll get flying, you get your wall stride ability, but you'll also need to unlock it from the Oddity vendor. I'm sure you guys have probably seen this guy before. That's Qi Sheng, I think is how you say his name. It's the guy that you talk to almost right at the start of the game when you sort of fight the bear and you get the fire arrows and the beehive. If you hand in stuff to this guy and work your way along his talent tree, you'll be able to unlock the wall stride ability. It's one of these over here. There we go, wall stride, shadow dash, and then there's another one further on which adds some extra movement to it as well. Here it is, wall stride, swift stride. Along with this, there is also another oddities vendor, just like with the flying in Kaifeng and Qinghe. You will also need to do the same thing, talk to a different oddities vendor in the Kaifeng area. I believe he starts off over here by default. So just down here, you'll see it when you hover over, you'll have a sort of green book quest. You'll be able to talk to him there. If you free him from a mouse, which is underneath. I wish I had footage of this one. I'm sorry about this one, guys, but there's a mouse. He's standing in the roof. You get rid of the mouse, and then he'll fly over to the top of the map, and you'll be able to find him over here. But with these guys, you need to hand in stuff to them to get progression, so you can unlock the wall stride ability, and it's also tied to the level 4 exploration of the area as well. While we're on the topic of the Oddity vendor, it's worth mentioning there is quite a lot of extra power to be gained from here as well. Although the ultimate goal, as far as like most people understand, is to go all the way to the end, and then you get a piece of the bell. This is from the first Oddity vendor, and you can take that piece of the bell, you can slap it into the bell tower here, the bell of Demon Calm. So you go right up to the top of the tower, put the bell in, ring it. It'll make all of the world bosses in this area easier to defeat. But outside of doing that, outside of finishing the skill tree, it is also worth going back, collecting some bugs over time, and getting these other bonuses as well, like the extra physical defense and the attack and HP and stuff. The reason behind that, if we take a look at my power level over here, whatever exactly we call this number, 9251, if I talk to Qi Sheng, and then we just hand in some stuff that I got. So we were at 9251. Let's hand in that one over there. And then let's hand in this one over here as well. Never mind, I can't. I don't have enough upgrades. But either way, 9251 was the number we're at. And now we take a look at the number again. Now we're at 9257. Now this number doesn't really mean too much, but it can be helpful in certain regards. Take for example, when I go to my talent skill tree. So if I go to talents, if I'm working my way along here, if I want to get this health upgrade, my martial mastery, which is apparently what it's called, needs to be at least 10,000. So I can start working my way towards that so I can get this HP increase. And that is a pretty big difference there. So martial mastery gained from the Oddity vendor. Don't sleep on it. When you get time, if you're looking for something to do while waiting for the next level cap increase, go around, gather some bugs and hand them into this guy. And then also gather bugs and stuff in Kaifeng and go hand them into that guy. Get that martial mastery, get those physical attack, HP, physical defense upgrades, stuff like that. An area that you guys are likely going to find yourself confused with, because I did as well, was the names of certain bonuses in this game. So affinity rate, abrasion conversion rate, precision rate. What the heck do these mean? Well, it turns out there is actually a menu that breaks it all down, of course, because there's a menu for everything in this game. So if you want to find that menu, open up the general menu here, then we go to develop, abilities, and then over here we have this details tab. With the details tab open, we actually get an explanation of generally what everything does in the game. So body is a stat which converts to your max HP, power is physical attack, We were talking earlier about abrasion conversion rate. So this is a chance to convert the damage into normal damage. So actually, I'm still not really sure what that means, but you guys, maybe you'll be able to find this useful here as we work our way through these menus to learn what certain things are. I found it somewhat useful. Again, some of them are still pretty confusing, but at least being aware that the information is there, I think it's a worthwhile tip to include in this video. Another way you can increase your character's power level quite substantially is going over to this next tab here. We have gear, and then selecting this button here to enhance. Now this is the slot for the weapon. So it isn't like with the martial arts, it's not the actual weapon itself, it's more just your proficiency with that particular slot. And you wanna make sure that you've got all of these maxed out so that you're as proficient as possible. You're getting the max amount of HP from your armor, physical defense, damage from your weapons. You wanna max all of these out. To do so, you will need to equip the highest level gear for your character. Generally, it's always just been like one level ahead of whatever the cap is right now. So at time of recording, the max cap that we can get to is 50. The breakthrough to get to level 55 is still another 3 days. By the time this video goes out, the level cap might be 55 or even 60, but it's typically just going to be one level ahead of whatever you are. At least that's how it's been so far. So again, if we go back to that menu, develop, gear, and then enhance over here, this needs to say level 51, level 61, level 56 or whatever, and you want to make sure that you don't have any sort of upgrade options down here. Upgrade everything, spend all the materials. It's definitely going to increase your character's power level. When it comes to systems that are specific to the item that you're actually using, so in this case, we're talking about that strategic sword build that I'm thinking about going into, you can actually upgrade the individual item itself. This is done through a system called honing. So you can access it from here. We can go to the develop menu and then go to gear and then select the item, but you can also just do it from your backpack as well. So if we open up our bag and then we select the item here, there is this button to go to tune. Now with the tuning system open, what you can do is you can select any sort of junk gear that you don't want. So here's some items that I held onto, and you can kind of feed them in to level up this weapon. And we're going to unlock these different breakpoints to give us more stats, more damage, more abilities. So let's feed in these boots. I'm not going to be using these, and that one, and then there we go. And now when I go ahead and click tune, it's going to unlock these. What you can also do by default is you can use these upgrade materials. So we just hit add all, it will chuck this tuning stone in here. For me, I find my bag is just filled with junk, and you know, I'm just going to get rid of this. My understanding is the system will use anything that's level 41 or higher. So you can't use anything below level 41. You can find the gear level down here. So if you got a bunch of level 31 items, you won't be able to feed those in. The best advice to do, what you should do with those, is just go to them. So, and then we just want to hit recycle and get rid of that stuff there. So if you have anything that's under level 41 at this point, you can just recycle it. Quickly want to jump in on my own edit here. It's Baggins from the future to save you guys from making a mistake. You will also have these items known as antiques. They will be very low in mastery level and they'll seem like you want to salvage them, but make sure you hold on to these. The quick tip, you can go to filter and then antiques and set it to untraceable, and then they won't show up in your inventory and you don't have to worry about getting rid of them. The reason why they're important is there's supposed to be another menu where you can cash them in, sort of like a museum. It'll help you get some currency, some rewards. So yeah, hold on to those antiques. If you already got rid of them, I don't think it's going to be a massive sort of setback to your account, but yeah, just wanted to make you guys aware. Do not salvage these. Make sure you filter them off. You could either go ahead and lock them as well, just so you don't have to worry about salvaging them if that filter resets. But anyway, going back to the tuning system, tune. So I am going to feed in some old items to this one. Let's get rid of this umbrella, these boots, those boots. There we go, we're 40 out of 40. And then we're going to go ahead and hit this button. And we're going to unlock some extra stuff. So body, we know what that one is because we looked at that menu earlier. Body is going to increase our max HP. And affinity rate, this is going to give us an extra chance to proc like a heavy attack basically. So we have a chance to do some bonus damage, a 0.5% chance to do some extra bonus damage, kind of like a crit, but not quite. So not some bad upgrades we got there. And this will also increase the mastery of the item as well. So it's 129, whereas I believe previously it was somewhere in the 90s. So that is the tuning system. It's pretty straightforward, but there is quite a lot of RNG in it as well in terms of like trying to get good outcomes for your build. Now I know the next thing you guys are going to ask is like, what am I actually looking for down here? I'm going to be honest, at this moment in time, I don't entirely know. I'm still learning quite a lot about the game, but there is a rarity system. So you can see we got a blue, we got a legendary, and we got a purple here. So I think at the highest end, especially when we get to the end game, we're probably going to be looking for those legendaries, and then you're going to be looking for stats that are appropriate for your build. So if you're playing a full DPS build, then you'll just be wanting to go for, again, things that are going to increase your damage. It is also worth mentioning with this tuning system, there are certain items that you're going to get that will give you a bonus applied as well. So this one here, it says, when you use this as a tuning material, the next tuned affix is guaranteed to be purple or above. I would suggest holding on to these and so you can feed them into an item when you know you've got something good. And again, I know that's going to take a little while because we don't fully understand the systems yet and what set bonuses we want and stuff, but holding on to these purples I think is generally going to be a good idea. So one thing that you can do there to make sure you don't accidentally get rid of them is just hit this lock button. So select the item that you want. So in this case, we got this one here, and then we go lock. You can just do this from the bag as well. So if I go back to my bag here, let's say that I don't want to get rid of this umbrella here. So we select the item and then we hit this lock button up here, and then we don't have to worry about getting rid of it. But that is the tuning system. Definitely something to be aware of. It seems a bit complicated, but it's basically just feeding in all junk items to unlock random extra passives. At some point down the line, my understanding is that we will get the ability to re-roll some of these. At that point, when I know more about this system, we'll obviously have a dedicated YouTube video all about tuning and what bonuses to look for. So if you want to see that video, make sure you hit subscribe, and it'll notify you when it comes out. We're also briefly going to talk about set bonuses. This is something that I'm still learning about, but I'm sure you guys have seen. When you equip armor, weapons, or jewelry, you'll see these set bonus pieces kick in. So right now I'm wearing 3 pieces of the Rain Whisper. Awkwardly, I just can't get a good greatsword. That's from the Rain Whisper set, and then I'm wearing 4 pieces of the Moon Flare. This is for my tank build. There are going to be different set bonuses that you'll want to go for depending on what weapons you use, but this is ultimately going to be something that's a bit more endgame. I don't think it matters too much as we're leveling up, and especially as we're just doing the main storyline, but certainly when we get into raids and sort of higher end PvP, you will be looking for these. Now, the natural question you guys are going to ask is, which set bonuses should I be looking for X and Y weapon? I don't know every combination, but the game does give you guys some recommendations, so I think it's worth showing you where that menu is, because of course it's somewhere in a menu. So if we go here, and then we go to Develop, Abilities, and then we have this improvement guide over here. This actually shows you a bunch of different recommended weapon combinations. So if we take a look at that strategic sword build that I was talking about earlier, it recommends I pair it with a Heavenquaker spear, and then it gives me some ideas of what stats I want to be looking for, which inner ways I should be using, and also most importantly, what set pieces I should be looking for. So the Hawkwing weapon set for weapons and accessories, and then in my armor, I also want to be looking for the Eagle Rise. So it recommends Hawkwing on the weapons and the jewelry, and then Eagle Rise on the armor. So that's how we take a look at that one there to see which set bonus we should go for. Now obviously, if I want to play with Strategic Sword and maybe like Nameless Spear, you can kind of use this to inform you, but just generally taking a look through the set bonuses and deciding which ones look right for you, it's just worth mentioning or noting that they do exist, and that some of them do seem to be quite powerful. After weapons and gear, the next major upgrade you're going to be looking for with your characters is your inner ways. These are basically passives, but some of them are incredibly powerful. One of the most consistent inner ways you're going to see in pretty much every build is Morale Chant. This just gives you a stacking damage and healing buff, and as you level it up, it just gets stronger and stronger and stronger, and it's very easy to acquire this one. I'm sure you guys have probably seen a guide or a YouTube video on it by now, but just in case you haven't, you want to fast travel over to Blissful Retreat, where we are on the map here, and then just as you go through, you'll typically arrive here, go through and talk to this NPC, and he sells pages. You need 10 of them, so you need to buy all 10, and then you can combine them together when you're in the inner way menu, and you'll be able to unlock the Morale Chant, and then you just slot that in every build. When it comes to the other inner ways, it is going to vary depending on your build and what weapons you're using. So as a tank, I'm using the Greatsword and Spear, or as they're specifically called, the Stormbreaker Spear and Thundercry Blade, and I've gone for Exquisite Scenery. This is a must-have if you're using a Thundercry Blade, Adaptive Steel, and Battle Anthem. However, you guys are probably using different weapons from me, and to that, I'm going to give you a link to this video in the description down below. This is from a content creator called Rexlent. He's very knowledgeable about the game. He's been playing hundreds and hundreds of hours over on the Chinese servers, so he definitely knows what he's talking about, and he does have some recommendations of what you would be looking for here. So again, you can find a link to that video in the description down below. One of the systems to be aware of with the inner ways is, just like with the weapons and everything, you can upgrade them. So I'm looking to upgrade my Exquisite Scenery. So I go to In a Way Breakthrough, and then I need to get 10 of these. It does give you some suggestions on where you can get them from. One of the menus that we were talking about earlier, which is our development guide. So you guys will remember we got to this one by going to Escape, or well, if you're with a controller, just bring up the menu, however you do it there. Develop, Abilities, Improvement Guide, Path Guide, and then I'm going to select my Tank Melee Combat, and then I'm going to go to the challenges. Working your way through these challenges will give you these In a Way slips, which will help you upgrade whatever the main passive is, or the main In a Way for your build. One other problem though is that we can't actually read the text here, so I'm hoping the devs are going to fix this at some point, because yeah, it says complete any campaign in solo ... So it is going to be hard to complete them when we don't know what they say, but fingers crossed there'll be a bug fix for that at some point, or a quality of life upgrade, because they do seem to be patching the game pretty quickly. But yeah, that is In a Ways. They are very, very powerful. The ones that you equip for your build is going to depend on your weapons. We'll have a link to that video in the description down below, but definitely don't skimp out on these. These are super important. One other thing you might be asking is, where can I actually get them from? Again, my advice is probably just to type in the name of whatever the In a Way is that you need, and then just search for it on YouTube. For example, with the Exquisite Scenery, that one for me came from one of the first world bosses I fought over here. It is worth mentioning that you can just click on a boss. So we have this guy down here, the snake dude, and you can see he gives me an In a Way. So this is a full tome, so I can learn this ability for the Star Reacher. So Star Reacher gives you 10% physical attack when you knock somebody into the air. Just generally a good tip when it comes to playing this game, selecting things and seeing what you can get from them. Quite a few bosses will give In a Ways, and you'll also get some from doing the main storyline, side storylines, etc, etc. Another system that's worth mentioning when it comes to the In a Ways is the sort of salvage system. So if you select these tickets up here in the top right, you can go Tips Recycle, and it'll bring up this menu. And what you can do is you can get rid of any In a Ways that you don't want. So this Wind Beneath Wings, I don't think I'm going to be using that. Doesn't sound like it's for me. Evening Snow doesn't sound like it's too useful. Reduces chance of being staggered, but it doesn't work in PvP or against bosses, so yeah, doesn't seem that good. Touch of Death Ambush can be kind of handy for some exploration, so just going through and getting rid of the ones that don't sound like they're going to be too handy to you, and then you can confirm, get yourself a bunch of tickets, and then with these tickets, we go to the second menu, and you can buy boxes towards the particular playstyle that you want. Again, there's Stone Split, Silk Bind, Bell Strike, Bamboo Cut. You can see what sort of passives they're going to give here. So there's my Exquisite Scenery. That's the one that I'm after there. So go ahead and buy, let's get 30 of these. And we didn't get anything. But you can see, if you get lucky, you might unlock the legendaries that you want. Getting those breakthroughs are going to be a big deal. Another important component to your character's build are your mystic skills. These are abilities that are not tied to the weapon you're using. One of the first mystic skills you unlock is Tai Chi, when you throw that bear. But there are many, many more to be unlocked in the game, and some of them are very powerful. Some even have synergies between each other. One of my favorite combos is Cloud Steps into Guardian Palm. So we can go up into the air if we get these guys all together here. And then Cloud Steps, Guardian Palm, boom. Huge, huge damage, very satisfying, looks really cool. And yeah, there are quite a few synergies you can do like that in both PvP and PvE. The Mystic skills, definitely something that you want to be taking a look into. As it is with all of the other stuff that we've talked about in this gear section, they can also be upgraded as well. So upgrading your most powerful Mystic skills for your build is going to be something you want to do. So we select the Guardian Palm, for example, upgrade, and then we want to be spending these rocks and this material here in order to upgrade them. A natural question many of you guys will have is, which Mystic skills do I want to be running? I don't have a perfect answer for every weapon combination, but I can tell you that Dragon's Breath is strong in many, many builds in both PvE and PvP. Meridian Touch is something that you can use in many different types of combat just to poke out. It's also used in several boss mechanics as well. Guardian Palm with the Cloud Steps combo is incredibly powerful against packs of enemies. Gonna be trickier to pull off in PvP because your opponents, it is very slow so they can react to it. But again, in a sort of big groups fights, super, super strong. Cloud Steps naturally is also a great gap closer in PvP and does a decent amount of damage in PvE, allows to set up for other abilities as we've mentioned extensively. Soaring Spin is another great ability to take a look at. does a lot of damage. It's good gap closer, short cooldown. Free Morph, I think particularly in PvP, is also very, very strong, but does some good damage. Drunken Poet has synergy with the Dragon's Breath ability. So if you put Dragon's Breath on them and then go into Drunken Poet, you can do these sort of explosive attacks. Very, very powerful in the Chinese servers for a long time. I believe it has been nerfed. I don't know if we're on the pre or post nerf version, but this is also a strong one to look at. And finally, Serene Breeze is also a mandatory ability. You want to run this in PvP. Without it, you are just going to get comboed. It breaks you out of CC. One of the best ones to upgrade for PvP. Definitely worth doing. I'm sure you guys are going to be asking in the YouTube comments, Baggins, where can we get all of these abilities that you talked about? If we wanted to add that section to this video, I think it would add easily another like 15-20 minutes to this. So instead, I'll just put a link to some videos down below on where you can unlock them. Again, that Rexlin individual that we talked about earlier, he has quite a few videos talking about where to get certain mystical arts, including both the Soaring Spin and the Fire Breath. But yeah, it seems like a bit of a cheap thing to do, but I would say just searching for the YouTube videos specifically on the mystic art you're interested in, and then making sure that you do upgrade these when you've got them socketed in your build, it's a really good idea. And finally, for your character's power level, your build, you have the talent system. This is pretty straightforward. There isn't really much customization here. It's a permanent unlock. As you level up and as you achieve certain goals in the game, you're going to get talent points, and then you can spend these to work your way through the tree. Generally, to start off with, I would just go all the way along without getting the sort of top and bottom upgrades, although some of these passives can be very good, including this one here. This gives you invulnerability when you're doing solo. If you're going to die, instead you heal to 20% and get 3 seconds of invulnerability. That's a game changer for solo content and doing boss fights. This one, as we talked about, Serene Breeze is a must-have for PvP. You absolutely need to pick this up if you want to PvP. And then also Divine Counter is another good sort of side grade to get. It's a passive that when you block, you can kind of reflect damage at them. That's quite nice as well. But yeah, just working your way along these so you can get more mystic skill upgrades. Not too much to be said here, but it is worth to, you know, just in case you haven't seen this talent point, you definitely want to be spending these to upgrade. I've got 3 points left, and I'm just working my way towards getting these here, but I want to get more max HP. I do need that martial mastery, so I've got to do some other upgrade systems to get there. It's also worth mentioning that there is a separate talent tree for both arena and boss fights as well. So as you fight a particular boss more and more, you'll get these talent points which you can spend to make you stronger against that particular boss. And the same with arena. This skill tree is actually kind of insane. I'm not sure if they balance this so that when you go against other opponents in 1v1 arena that they have the same amount of points, but yeah, the more arena games you play, the more talent points you get and just like more damage and stuff you do. This is super, super strong. And you know, if you're interested in arena, you definitely want to be spamming it to unlock these. Having 5,000 extra HP is that's a pretty big buff. Another quick tip that I want to make when it comes to builds is being aware that there is a build system as well. So if I set up for what we were talking about earlier with my strategic sword build, so let's put on a strategic sword. There's the one that we upgraded for the video. And then my secondary weapon, let's just say for now it's going to be, I don't know, Nameless Spear, since I don't have the Heavenquaker Spear that I recommended. And we'll put on that spear. Seems pretty good. Oh, that's my tank spear actually, but I can use it for this one. I'll set up my inner arts for what I want, which I don't actually have. So let's just put on some random stuff here. And that's for twin blades, but we'll put it on. morale chant, here we go. And then finally, change my mystic skills for what we want as well. So we're going to keep all of these, except I'm going to go Soaring Spin. And then I'm also going to just randomly put on a Blinding Mist as well. Why not? What I can do now is I can save this build here. So the inner arts, the weapons that I've got equipped, my gear down here as well. So we've got the sword, we've got the spear, I've got my, in a way, mystic skills. So we go to build management and then current build. And what we're going to do is we're going to save the current build. And I'm going to save it as a new plan. So these are some ones that I made earlier, but we're going to do new plan. And I'm going to call this Strategic Sword. Okay, well, we're just going to call it Strategic because apparently we only get 10 characters. And there we go. We have a build set up now. So we've got my 2 weapons in here. I've got my gear. I've got my mystic skills in a way. So here's a healer build that I made earlier. As you can see, apparently I've got rid of the weapon for it though. My tank build for PvP. My tank build for PvE. So everything kind of stays the same, but I just changed over my mystic skills and also my inner way slightly for what I'm wanting to do. But yeah, definitely a handy system to know about. You can have up to 10 builds, and this is the stuff that it tracks. So once again, if you missed that, well, in fact, it's not even really worth mentioning because it's a YouTube video. You can rewind it. I'm too used to streaming, but it's build management down here, current build, and then save it and call it what you want. If you're looking to get better items or get some of the upgrade materials that we've talked about in the previous sections in this video, it's likely that you'll want to go do some content in the Wandering Paths. This is your online content. You can play with other players from here. We have PvP under this section. We have PvE, boss fights, fort rushes, and getting chests under here. In order to do or loot the chests and get the items from the end of the boss, you will need to spend energy to do so. Now, energy is a resource that's constantly recharging. Looting a chest is going to cost anywhere between 20 to 60 energy typically. And to my understanding, I think 1 energy recharges every 9 minutes. Although, actually, it does say down here, yeah, 1 point every 9 minutes. There are some ways you can get it back instantly, though they are very limited. You'll be using this pillow elixir. The recommendation is to not spend this until you get to max level, though. You're going to be needing to use this to get items once you're maxed out. Doing the raids and stuff like that, using it in these early levels while we're still progressing and replacing items is just going to be a waste. So strongly recommend you do not spend that until later on down the line in the game. One question I had to myself though, and I'm sure you guys have, is what should I be spending my energy on? My general advice is to spend time doing this outpost challenge. When it comes to the sword trial, I think clearing the boss fights once, because the first time you clear them, you do get a first time bonus. But generally, you want to be doing these outpost challenges. Now, you can do these with other players if you want. If you go to Sword Trial and then you go to Joint Battle, what you'll do is you'll move through various outposts like this. You'll kill enemies and then you'll get to loot a chest at the end. And the reason why I think that's important is because you'll be getting this Ebon Iron, and you're going to need lots of this to be upgrading your mystic skills. Again, upgrading the mystic skills, as we covered in the previous section, is very important. You can also get some inner way notes. We need those pretty extensively. And we have a chance to get a few weapons and cosmetics along the way as well. So my recommendation is to go for the forts, do the outpost challenge. Again, you can do it through Sword Trial. You can just go to them specifically like this if you want to do them on your own, or invite people into co-op. But that's where I would be spending my energy currently. Although, as I mentioned, it is worth doing a one-time clear of these boss fights just so you can get the first-time clear bonus. Another important resource you'll want to be earning and spending accordingly is your Jade Fish. You can earn up to 20,000 of this each week. A week in this game resets on Monday, so as of recording, the game came out on Friday, so we had Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and then Monday happened and the reset, so we were able to earn 20,000 through that weekend period, and then we've been able to earn another 20,000 this week. And obviously, so it's not a 20,000 cap, that's just how much you can earn in that time period. So at time of recording, we could have a total of 40,000 Jade Fish, but you do want to be spending it as well. First of all, though, how do we earn it? Pretty much anything in the game, like exploration, dungeons, killing enemies, looting chests, discovering things. It's super easy to earn. You can do pretty much anything to earn it, but make sure that you are earning it. I think it is a high priority to make sure you get your 20,000 Jade Fish. And then why? Well, because we can spend them. So if we go to the menu here, season, and then season shop. I know it was just on the screen, but again, just so we can show exactly how you can get to these menus, because I know they are very confusing. From here, we want to be picking up the Oscillating Jade. It's a very important upgrade material. We also want to get our Inner Way notes. We've already talked about how important these are. We want to get our martial art custom tips. These are used for the weapon breakthrough, so we can level up the martial proficiency of our weapons. And then also the commerce coins. This is sort of a side currency, but it is quite handy. For the price that they cost, 50 Jade Fish, I do think it's worth buying this. It's a weekly one of one as well. When it comes to the gear chests, I would stay away from buying any of the 16 or tier 31, tier 16, tier 31, because you're just going to move through that section really quickly. And possibly by the time you watch this video, the tier 41 won't be relevant as well, because we'll be like level 51 or higher. So buying these boxes, they're relatively cheap, but do be aware we are going to be replacing our gear. You know, give it another 2 weeks from now, we'll be moving towards like tier 61 or even tier 71. So just bear in mind buying these, it is going to be more of a temporary investment, but you do get quite a lot of Jade Fish, so you can spend it. Another thing to consider spending your Jade Fish on is the Healer gift box, the Career notebook, and even the Scholar gift box. These are for your professions. We didn't really cover this, but I'll briefly mention it. If we open up the menu here, we go profession. There's only 2 professions in the game right now. You can be a scholar This allows you to better perform the Gift of Gab, which is when you have like a argument with an NPC and you throw the cards at them. You guys might have seen the mini game before, but the Gift of Gab, or the Scholar, allows you to craft these scrolls, and some of them can be pretty effective, increasing the amount of damage that you do. So if your HP is below 30%, damage dealt and damage taken is increased, while your HP is below 30, damage reduced, damage reduction while under control effect. So there's some pretty nice buffs in here. In order to do that, you need to level up your Scholar ability, and then another one is your Healer ability, which is behind my camera here. This will allow you to make better potions if you level it up. You can make the Yin Yang Ointment, and eventually we can make the 10 Wonders power once we get to level 61. If you want to be able to level these up, you need the Career Notebook, this one here. And of course, we can get that from the Season Shop. So once again, Season Shop, Profession Development, and then we can buy the Career Notebook here. So buying a good stockpile of these, I think it's a worthy investment for your Jade if you're interested in making better tier potions, or you're interested in making those buff scrolls that we talked about just a second ago. Another cool system that I wanted to share with you guys that is buried very deep in the menu is the treasure hunting passive, and also the ability to speak to animals. If you want to find this, we need to open up our menus here. Then we want to go to Develop, Details, select the Tools icon, and then go to Exploration Skills. It's only 7 layers deep in a menu, but you can find these abilities here. This is the one that we talked about that lets you speak to animals. What exactly the benefit of this, I don't really know yet, but I do think some of these are pretty cool. This one here in particular, I saw a Rexlent video about it earlier today. Basically, it shows chests on your minimap. So your minimap over here will show you a nearby chest, and then you can just go towards it. So if you're exploring in a town and you're worried like, did I miss a chest? Well, you'll know because your minimap will show it. So once again, we go Develop, Details, Tools, Exploration, and we can get these here. Now, in order to unlock these, you're going to need these various stats. We need Elegance for this one. How do we get Elegance? We can either eat food that we get from NPCs. So it'll hopefully explain it somewhere in here. It doesn't actually explain it, so we'll just take a second to do that. So here we are through the power of editing. I've fast traveled into Kaifeng. I'm just here on the map right now for those of you who are interested, although you can find ththese NPCs all over the place. They have this little bowl icon above them. So if you talk to these people, what you can do is you can go, let me have a taste. And then you'll have this sort of like check from them, and you want to buy this food, and then you want to buy this food as well. Eat them while they're in your inventory, and that will give you the elegance stat. Each food that you consume will give you 1 elegance stat, although it is a one-time thing, so you can't keep buying the food over and over again. It's just the first time you consume that particular meal that they make. So finding these guys all over the place, eating their food just once will give you elegance. And then the other one, which you guys may have noticed, it references Kitten Hunt, and basically you just go around and pet cats. So you guys have probably been noticing cats all over the game. If you pet them, you'll get 1 elegance. You can't do it over and over again, so it's just the first time you pet a cat, you will get 1 elegance points. But yeah, it's definitely worth taking a look through these exploration skills. Some of them are pretty cool, other ones not so much, but I do think this Treasure Seeker was pretty cool, and I thought it included it in the video. And you can also check out your other stats as well. You are going to need these later on to equip certain items. So some armor, for example, will require you to have a fairly high constitution if you want to be able to equip it. Other ones, again, are going to reference that elegance. So leveling up these stats, it will explain how you can do it, but good to be aware of exploration skills and the attributes that go with them. Pretty cool feature that's hidden again within the menus of Where Winds Meet, albeit not very deep in a menu, is the help tool. So we can go to this guide option here through in the main menu, and you can type in almost anything you want in here, and it'll generally be able to give you some tips either through the Q&A section or the encyclopedia. So let's say, for example, I'm putting together some inner ways for a particular build. I want to know where to get the Vendetta inner way for my strategic sword build. I don't actually know if you'd use this for strategic sword, but nonetheless, let's say we want to get Vendetta. What we can do is go to guide, and then we can just type in the word Vendetta over here, and it's going to show us where we can actually get it from. So yeah, kind of putting me out of a job a little bit. You know, it's going to make YouTube's and like these sort of guides invalid when you can just search for it in the game. But nonetheless, I thought it's definitely worth including in this one. Very handy tool. It's not infallible. It doesn't seem to know everything, but it does definitely know a lot about the game that it's coded into. So yeah, that's the Wikipedia tool. There is also a similar feature you can use in here as well. So we have this, you can type things in here. So let's say I'm interested in PvP Arena. Like, where the heck do I find PvP Arena? And then we can click on these buttons and it'll actually take you straight to it. So if there's some particular sort of content you're interested in, you can ask for it in there. I could even say, type this one in here. So let's say strategic sword. Okay, didn't have anything for us there, but you guys get the idea. You can either type in or use a voice prompt and it'll show you if there's a menu associated with it, it will show you that menu. This can be pretty handy when you find a menu for something and then you don't know how to get back to that menu. You can just type it in here and it will generally a menu system for the menu. It's very where winds meet, but it's definitely a handy feature to have both of these to navigate your way through the game. Final tip I wanted to include in this video is just something that's a little bit of fun, but it's still quite handy to know. It's not related to a menu. Instead, what we're doing here is we are in the first zone and we've fast traveled again to Blissful Retreat over on the left hand side of the sort of starter area. What we're going to do is we're going to turn around from here, run across the river and go up the stairs. From here, we're going to turn right and go into this house. And what you can do twice a day, with the reset for me in the UK being at 9 p.m, which I think for America is going to be 4 p.m. East Coast. For Europe, we're talking 10 p.m. You can go to this mirror and you can comb your hair. And what this will do is it will unlock a hairstyle. There we go. We got hairstyle 1, and then we can do it one more time and we'll unlock another hairstyle. Hairstyle 3. There's only a limited amount you can unlock from here and you can only do it twice a day. But I think it's definitely, like, in terms of a daily, it's worth doing. If you want to get some extra hairstyles to customize your character, we're just here on the map. But yeah, best way to do that, Blissful Retreat, run up the stairs, go to that house, get yourself some free hairstyles. And friends, I think that's where we should end this video. There is so much more to explore in this game. So many mini games, so many menus and systems. The game has a lot to offer. It's just getting your head around how all of it works, and hopefully this video helped a little bit with some of that. If there's any other tips and tricks that you think are very important for this game that I didn't cover in this video that you want to share with me or your fellow player, leave them in the comments down below. And if you have any further questions about the game, also please leave those in the comments down below. I'd love to see what other videos and guides, builds I can help you guys with when it comes to content on this game. I do want to give a big shout out to Rexlent and several other content creators when it comes to information on Where Winds Meet. They have been bastions of just information and learning stuff in the game. So I'm going to put a link to their channels in the description down below. You should definitely go check them out if you want even more deep dives on specific different systems, because we tried to do more of a broader overview within this video. But as always, friends, if you enjoyed this one, make sure you hit that like button, subscribe for more, and I'll catch you guys all in the next video.